I remember earlier in my career, people would always ask me for rematches after I beat them, and I would just be like that would just piss me off because, like, to me, they were just like trying to discredit the win I just got, and they'd always ask me for rematches, and I'd be like, okay, and I'd give them a rematch, and then I'd just try to like freaking kill him, you know, like
Like,
you
you
never,
asked for this.
yeah, you don't want to ask for a rematch after this one. So I mean, I kind of had that mentality going as a young fighter that nobody respected my skills, you know, because I was like super skinny and pale and I wasn't athletic. I had no background in it, so I didn't look like a good fighter, you know. But I just kind of was squirrely, and I've always had a ton of punching power and you know a ton of heart, so it worked. I was a successful amateur, but yeah, guys were always kind of. I always felt like I wasn't getting enough credit, so that just made me like super violent, and I would just try to really hurt people in the cage. And over time, I just that kind of faded away with age, you know. And it's mostly just been about winning,
Yeah.
you know. But when you're a young fighter, like a lot of guys just have that mentality, you know. You gotta freaking make people respect you. You gotta freaking get the crowd going. You want to be an exciting fighter.
After you got in that fight in high school, did you graduate? Or
Yeah.
you did?
Well, I got expelled for that, and then went to night school and graduated from night school. And yeah, I mean, I just didn't really have much direction after that. I was just kind of floating around. You know, I would go down to 24 Hour Fitness and play basketball in the pickup games all the time. That was kind of like my main hobby at that point. You know, I was just kind of working dead end jobs and not knowing what I was going to do. I was kind of feeling like a loser, like nothing was ever going to work out for me. And, you know, I just had a bad mentality and just kind of a bad outlook on life at that point. So, um, yeah, I was always a fight fan. That was always my thing. Like, I was huge into boxing when I was a kid. I was huge into like WWF, you know, and like,
Ultimate Warrior.
yeah, you know, like the NWO and
Mhm.
all that stuff, you know. So I was always into like sports and you know performances and all that stuff. Like I always liked fighting. I feel like it's for me like MMA is the ultimate test. You know, like
Yeah.
ultimate fighting is the perfect name for it because it's really the ultimate man. I mean, you want to find out who you are. You're gonna find out in the cage. You
Man,
know,
that is
like
the truth, isn't it?
oh yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so many people are afraid to take the test, you know. So you got to give mad respect for anyone who's willing to step up and go in the ring, go in the cage, and actually put themselves to the test like that. Because I mean, that's what you're really gonna find out. Like, are you freaking gonna rise to the challenge, or are you a coward? Like, you will be freaking revealed, you know.
That's true. Yeah. Dana White says this a lot, and people might say he just says it because he's the promoter, but there are no easy fights in the UFC,
Oh
really.
no,
If,
definitely not.
I always try to explain it to people when they're talk shit about certain fighters or whatnot. I'm like, that dude beat the living shit out of you.
Yeah.
You have no clue.
Oh
You have no clue.
yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, there are some local fights that you know are questionable where they're letting guys fight that shouldn't, in
Yeah,
my
I've
opinion.
seen
You
that.
know,
Yeah,
and I think sometimes that gives a bad rap, you know, and gives people the wrong idea. But no, I mean, either way, that person's trained and they're going out there, and I mean that thing's a pressure cooker.
yeah.
You know, going out there in front of the crowd, in front of your family and loved ones, like it's the most nerve wracking thing you can imagine. It's
Yep,
just like a total mind fuck.
it is, and it's another thing that people I would. Well, I go hard in the gym. It's not the same.
Nah, man.
It's not the same. I don't care if you got
Anybody
small
can
gloves or
just
what.
throw down, but
Yep.
like to fight on a schedule, like to freaking perform at like the freaking when called upon, it's like a whole nother monster. And yeah, man, I always had trouble with that. You know, I was very rarely going into fights super confident and feeling really good. I was always scared. You know, it scared the hell out of me. You know, that's one of the things that I loved about it so much is when you know, when you're prepared, you're a little bit more confident. You know, the only time you're really scared is when you didn't prepare hard enough and you're not in the best shape. But all that pressure that goes into it and all that fear, you know, when it's over, that release that you get, it's like the highest high you're ever going to feel. You know, you're on top of the mountain, king of the freaking world,
Yeah.
you know, and no one can take that away from you. It's amazing, you know, and so many fighters have trouble letting go because of that fact. We were talking about Tony Ferguson, you know, like he hasn't won a fight in like,
I think 7 fights now. I think it is.
it's got to be like 4 or 5 years or something like that. And I was just, I haven't won a fight in like 5 years, you know, and I was chasing that for, you know, a long time. And I finally have just like finally gotten to the point where I'm ready to let it go. And I still think about fighting, you know, you just want that feeling so bad.
The image
Oh
too.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure. It's like a whole thing. It gives you prestige, you know. It gives you like a whole freaking identity that people can look up to and admire. And I mean, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, don't mess with Josh. He's a fighter, you know.
Well, I
What's
mean,
up, champ?
I try not to take myself too serious, you know, in that way. But no, it's there is a certain confidence that comes with training.
Yeah,
You
there
know,
is.
like you know what you're capable of. You know, like I said, you put yourself to the test. You know what you're capable of if you've been tested so many times.
No, I agree.